right. My hair looks interesting, but it's fine. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm coming from my bed with an old journal of mine, and we are going to read some stuff from my journal. So I did a couple of these last year, where I read my old journals, and they were pretty funny and a little cringy. And this one says it's from April, I started at April 6th, 2012, and it looks like the last entry is from December 13th, 2012. We're just gonna jump right into it. When I was running up the stairs, this fell out of my journal, and so I had to grab it because, like, obviously. It says important, November 14th, 2010 on it, so that's interesting. It says 23 with a circle around it, and it says, both know that I taught you what love was, I screamed at him. I don't know what this is. I feel like it's writing. I feel like it's cringy creative writing. It's cringy creative writing. Okay, so it's like printed creative writing here, and then I have notes all over it of like editing. Oh man. I've wanted for such a long time, okay. Side note, for such a long time I wanted to be a writer, and I still kind of want to be a writer, but I want to do poetry now. That's what I'm good at. And I've noticed that, like, I'll do a whole video on this eventually, but the way that I write poetry is I'll write things like this and then pick out the stuff. So, but this is from November 10th, 2010, 14th, 2010, which was when I was, let's see, that was 10 years ago. So I was 15 when I wrote this. I'm really nervous to read it because I feel like it's going to be really cringy, but let's go. It says s1.text. I don't know what I wrote this on. I feel like I wrote it on like a notepad because I didn't want to like notepad on the computer because I didn't want like my parents to find it. And so I was like, because I was like really embarrassed about my writing. I did like weird like erotic like fan fiction as well. I'm pretty sure that there's no erotic fan fiction anywhere. I'm pretty sure I like shredded it all because it's so cringy and like it's erotic fan fiction, and I was like 15. I'd never had sex. Like, that's so weird. She leaned against the wall, slowly sliding down until she reached the floor. She tucked her knees in and put her arms around them, and then her head down. Nothing would ever be the same after what had just happened. Ooh, I'm intrigued. 15-year-old Audrey, what? She turned to her right, looking down an empty hall. Seeing that she was alone, she let the tears flow out of her emerald eyes, hitting the floor with little thuds. This is actually kind of good. I just killed him, she whispered to herself. What? Her tears still flowed out of her eyes, hitting the tile floor of the building where so many memories had occurred. She whispered, I silently wished that her best friend hadn't moved and could be here with her. The sound of the door to the building opening echoed down the empty hallway, followed by the sound of pouring rain and the distant tap of footsteps walking down the hall. The door slammed, and the footsteps grew closer and faster until they stopped in front of her. She looked up. Oh wait, I changed this. She took in a deep breath before looking up and into the face of one of her closest friends. His smile broke as seeing the sight of the face of the heartbroken girl that he secretly loved so deeply. Ooh. It's a best friend love story. He watched the tears roll off her face, hitting her legs and hands. He wanted to say something to make the pain inside her aching heart go away, but he couldn't think of anything that could take even some of it away. She buried her head back into her knees, trying to muffle the sobs coming out of her chest. She didn't want him to hear her cry. He sat down next to her, wrapping his arms around her shivering body, trying to make it all better, but knowing that not even he could do that. Wow, that's fucking dramatic. What is this about? This like bottom writing one is like a different storyline. He walked past her, sending a disgusting look her way, and screamed, I hate you. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she couldn't take it. She ran after him into the band building. So many of my stories took place in the band building. Because I was in color guard, and so I did marching band, and so I spent a lot of time with the band kids in the band building, and a lot of people I dated were in band. Colton, she yelled through the crowds of people. He turned and looked at me, and then turned back. Tears were flowing. I like how it's she yelled through the crowds and then looked at me. So like I was really bad at like third personing and first personing and all of that. Tears were flowing now. Hate me all you want, but at one point, we both know that you held my hand, kissed me and looked me in the eyes, and said I love you, and meant it. We both know that I taught you what love was. I screamed at him. Wow. That's dramatic. Well, there's a ton of stuff in the back here. Let's see. I'm gonna try. Oh my gosh. Okay. I might not read any journal entries today because I just found the best thing to exist. So me and my friend Mason, shout out to you, Mason. I don't know if you watch my videos, but shout out. And I still talk to him to this day. But me and Mason, like, we created this story together. And it's called Fernando's Adventures. And it's about a unicorn. And I have to read it. It is incredibly long. So this is now not a dramatic journal reading. This is now a dramatic reading of Fernando's Adventures, a story that I wrote with my best friend, Mason, I'm pretty sure in like 2010, probably is what I'm guessing. Once upon a time, there was a unicorn named Fernando. He had razor sharp rainbow hair, and he had a tortoise, and the tortoise wasn't very nice. His name was Mr. Grumpy Pants, and he liked to bite unicorns. I feel like this is just BoJack Horseman. Is this BoJack Horseman? We'll find out. Fernando didn't have a problem with Mr. Grumpy Pants until he found out that his favorite food was unicorn meat. This made him lose all respect for Mr. Grumpy Pants. So Fernando kicked Mr. Grumpy Pants down Candy Mountain, through the candy cane forest. Mr. Grumpy Pants was discovered by the gummy wolves that inhabited the candy cane forest. The leader of the gummy wolves pack was thrilled because the tortoise was a rare delicacy on Candy Mountain. He called together all the gummy wolves and ordered an attack on Mr. Grumpy Pants. Somewhere up Candy Mountain, Fernando heard screams. Fernando ran towards the screams in hopes to see his enemy killed, but he was too late. All that was left was an empty shell. Fernando creepily licked the shell and continued to walk through the candy cane forest. He saw a sign that said, "Beware, Gummy Wolf Territory." So he entered the territory and approached the Gummy Wolf leader. The leader was excited to have met the creature that had gifted them with the delicacy. The Gummy Wolf leader and Fernando exchanged creepy licks before continuing through the forest. What is this? He was considered a god to the gummy wolves. They called him Fernando, the god of divinity. Fernando continued through the forest looking for something to do. He was walking and he suddenly picked up a giant dragon. Oh, he was picked up by a giant dragon. Correction. The dragon didn't want to hurt Fernando. She was just lovely and wanted a friend. Oh, lonely. Sorry. My handwriting was very odd back here, like back then. My R's literally look like Z's. This is crazy. Fernando said, "Well then, why did you kidnap me if you only want to make a friend? You..." This didn't age well. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna bleep that. The dragon said, "I'm just a lonely dragon. I have needs." Fernando rolled his eyes. "It's a freaking girl dragon," he mumbled. Fernando thought, wow, dragons really are greedy. So he sweet-talked the dragon into letting go of him. The first chance he got, he sprinted to the door. This really pissed the dragon off, so she breathed fire on him in an attempt to burn him to death. It, of course, did no harm, since everyone knows you can't burn a unicorn. In reaction to the flames, he sprouted wings and emitted an aura of glorious light. He jumped and soared ever so gracefully through the air. Fernando had never flown in his wildest dreams. He flew through the air in search of more unicorns, like he, with the amazing gift of flight. He searched and searched. He searched Candy Mountain. He searched through Canadian swamps. And he even searched through Gandhi's backpack. That's really good. He found no other unicorns like himself. Fernando realized that he was special. He truly was the god of divinity. He suddenly felt completely alone and wished there were just one other like himself. This is like Tigger. You know how Tigger was like so sad because there's no one like Tigger. Yeah. He then decided to ask for some help from his old friend named Guerrero. Guerrero was a wise man. Except he wasn't a man, he was a mouse. "Oh, great Guerrero," Fernando said. "What shall I do? I have been blessed with great divinity and none other to share with." Guerrero gave him a strained look. "Why are you talking like you have been trapped in a toolbox all day?" What? He asked. Fernando said, "Forgive me, Guerrero. You must trapped in a toolbox all day. Why are you acting like a tool?" Comedy. Fernando said, "Forgive me, Guerrero. You must remember, I have been searching far and wide for many years, and I have had dealings with people of the land, and I'm afraid their terms and dialects have rubbed off on me." "No matter, but I'll have to apologize. I can't seem to help you. I guess I'll ask my assistant," he said. "Mr. Grumpy Pants?" The return of Mr. Grumpy Pants? I'm intrigued. Fernando gasped. Mr. Grumpy Pants, you're alive! Mr. Grumpy Pants said, I was almost eaten by the gummy wolves that day. I tried to get away, but then they all got distracted by Guerrero. Guerrero saved my life. A mouse saved a tortoise's life. This is just BoJack Horseman. I asked what I could do to repay my debt to him, and he said, repent of thy sins and become a good boy. So Guerrero taught me everything he knows. Guerrero was still in shock from the intense triangular confusion he had just experienced. Guerrero suddenly fell unconscious. I need to explain triangular confusion. So, me and my friend Mason made up this term called triangular confusion, which is when you don't know that one of your friends knows one of your other friends. Like, that they know each other. So it's like a triangular confusion. Okay. Moving on. What's going on? Fernando cried. Mr. Grumpy Pants looked down. I'm afraid he has entered the further, Mr. Grumpy Pants said. You have known him the longest, which makes you his best friend. I'm afraid you are the only one who can save Guerrero. No! Fernando exclaimed. I am not going to save him. He is extremely wise and capable of saving himself. Plus, I didn't even see him for 25 years. And he never wrote back. Douche move, if you ask me. Fernando said. Mr. Grumpy Pants shrugged and walked back to his cave. Fernando looked at Guerrero and suddenly fell unconscious as well. He woke up, looking at himself. Ugh, screw this, he said, realizing that he was forced into the further against his will. Fernando decided that he might as well help Guerrero. He turned around and Guerrero was right there. Convenient. Fernando said, get back into your body so I can get back into mine. Guerrero looked at Fernando evilly. You leave. I like it here. Fernando raised an eyebrow. Whatever, crazy, he said, as he went back into his body. Fernando looked up and noticed that Guerrero's body was about to get possessed, so he poured a ring of salt around the little empty mouth so that no spirits could get close. Fernando decided that Mr. Grumpy Pants was no help and kicked him into the candy cane forest once again. He then flew down the mountain and called the gummy wolves over to eat him. Fernando then realized that once Mr. Grumpy Pants dies, he might try to take Guerrero's body. After Mr. Grumpy Pants was all over the place? Interesting. Fernando went to go check on Guerrero's body. The salt line was broken, and the mouse was nowhere to be found. Crap, Fernando yelled. He stomped around and started throwing a giant hissy fit. This is so... Another slur that I'm not gonna say. Did not age well. Fernando turned. Just because I'm a unicorn doesn't mean I'm gay, he said. Fernando then added, plus, can't you see these kick-ass wings? Technically, I'm not a unicorn anymore. I'm a Pegasus. Only one I've ever seen. Fernando was once again enveloped in overwhelming sadness. He was like Doctor Who and Tigger. He was lonely Fernando, laid down in the fetal position, and began to cry. The end. Well, I don't think I can top what just happened. I will do another journal reading. I'm gonna actually read from my journal now, but this is the end of this video. I'm in shock. What a good work of literature we just experienced. A literature experience from my own journals. It wasn't what I was expecting, but like, I hope you liked it. If you did, subscribe. I'm guessing that I have many different writings because I've always wanted to be a writer, so I'm guessing I have many different writings in all of my journals, so let me know if you want this to be a series. Subscribe if you are interested in that, and I really appreciate you subscribing if you have. I will talk to you next time. Don't get kicked into the candy cane forest by Fernando the Unicorn. Bye.